Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our Week 11 Tuesday NFL episode. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. We are coming off of a 3-2 week in our contest. We reviewed most of our day extensively in our Sunday night recap episode, but since we had contest plays on the Jets on Sunday night and the Broncos on Monday night for posterity, we went 1-1 in those plays. We're going to dig in a little bit for a minute on that. As we said on the show on Sunday, a lot of the lines we liked have already moved, which is why you need to listen to the Sunday show if you want to get the best of the number. Today, we will get to our Simon Says and our exec decision. And by the way, don't forget, me and Simon going live in Hoboken, New Jersey, December 3rd, the Sunday night episode, Shepherd and the Knucklehead in Hoboken. Free to get in, free drinks, free chance to bet with me and Simon, to troll me and Simon. We'll be there for the afternoon games, betting along with our friends at Bet365. You must RSVP. You must. Check out the link in the description on the YouTube page for this show and in the podcast page. Also go to eventbrite.com, search the Favorites podcast for more info and to RSVP. This episode, we're going to look at the entire board as we begin narrowing down the 5 picks. We'll enter in the Favorites podcast $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest. Still open for sign-up, still free to play, still awarding weekly and season-long cash prizes. Go to favorites.actionnetwork.com. Heading into week 11, Simon and I are in the top 100 in the contest. No joke. 5 wins behind the number 1 spot. Out of 11,600 entries, we're inside the top 1%. I expect it, yet it's still exciting. Everyone expects it of us, Simon, because that's what happens when you're freaking professionals. The entire leaderboard going to get a shakeup after the Thanksgiving week games. Everyone's 2 lowest scores will get dropped. The leaderboard will recalibrate. Let's bring in my co-host, my BFF, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Simon, hello. Hello, Simon. Here's the cold, hard truth about last week. We had so much drama. We had a late night call from Hawaii to Copenhagen because we had intel coming in. We made big changes in the moment. We pulled 2 games out of our original picks. We put 2 different games in. After all that, if we had done nothing, it would have been exactly the same. We would have ended up 3-2, which shows you, A, how freaking hard all of this is and how thin the margins are for success and failure. I was watching that game last night. When we had the game going, I'm like, doesn't matter what happens. Nothing we did over the weekend would have changed from what we decided on Thursday. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and it's also it just shows that this is just a grind. Like, we always joke about it, but that's what it is at the end of the day, where it's like, I know everyone wishes we could go 5-0 or 4-1 every week, but that's just not real life. Real life is you are the sharpest guy in the room if you can go 60%. Me and Chad talk about that all the time, and our goal is always 3-2. And I have to work really, really hard to suck just enough to go 3-2 every week. Like, people don't know how hard I work just to get that 3 on that board every week. So felt good, especially after that Jets game where it's like, you know, they take that touchdown off the board for the Jets and you're like, all right, you're dead. Like, the Jets, that was their first touchdown in, like, what was it, 30 quarters? And the refs took it off the board. Luckily in that Denver game, it's what we talked about, right? And that's always the best feeling, where it's you talk about how a game's going to go and why a number's bad. And, you know, I think the number got to 8 at a lot of books right before kickoff. And that's always scary when it's like, you know, me and Chad are on the other side and we need this win. And yeah, never a doubt that 7.5 was going to cover. So yeah, definitely a really hard week last week. And this week, I mean, I hate to jinx us, but
Don't say it.
I love these lines. Love these lines this week.
No. I didn't hear what you said. I was yelling and nobody heard what you said because we're not saying it. We're just not going to say it. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boost with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. As a reminder, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Here we go. Tough week in the contest. Like we said, week 10 saw only 48 entries finish 5-0, just 1% of entries. Congrats to our first place winner, Moki Bra. Enjoy the cash. This week's Producers Cup Award goes to JR Head 13 for finishing dead fucking last in the week 10 contest, going 0-5, missing the tiebreaker by 284 yards. JR, please email producer Matt Mitchell at podcast@actionnetwork.com to claim your non-cash prize. Thanks for playing. Contest is now live. The tiebreaker, total rushing yards on Monday Night Football. Good luck. All right. Week 11. I mean, we're in the double digits. The double digits of the season. How did we get here so quickly? Teams are becoming what we think they are. They're not in a place where you're like, oh, this team could be different. These teams are what they are. Cincinnati is visiting Baltimore. Baltimore's favored by 3.5. It's a Thursday night game. The first of 7 divisional matchups, and divisional matchups have been a key driver of success for us this year. We tend to like the dogs. I'll say this stat a lot today. Home teams in the division since 2015 are covering at just a 47% spread. That includes Baltimore. Home favorites in the division since 2015, just a 45% spread. Harbaugh is a favorite of 3.5 or more, under 500 against the spread. Lamar is a favorite of 3.5 or more, under 500 against the spread. And yet, Simon, we don't love the Bengals here.
And I don't have crazy value on this line. I make it number 4. It's 3.5. I'm on the Ravens then. So it's nothing crazy. I mean, don't have to think too much into it. It's a simple fact of it's a short week. You know, the Bengals just played a really hard game. Now they're coming on the road to play a team that they're coming off their own bad loss. So just a bad. It feels like a bad spot for the Bengals. And you know, if you want to back them, totally get it. You're catching 3.5, 4 at a lot of books. You feel pretty good backing Joe Burrow at that number, but keep in mind I have this stat here from Evan Abrams. The Bengals are 1-23 in their last 24 road night games. So, you know, their last win came back in 2012. That's a big deal. It's a team that at home, Joe Burrow has done well in these night games, right? Even me and Chad took them earlier this year against the Bills at home. I believe they won by 6. They're just a different team, it seems like, at home than they are on the road, especially in this spot, like going into play that Ravens team. We know how crazy and loud that fan base can be for the Ravens. And, you know, the fact this is a standalone game, divisional game, again, I can't fault you for taking it. Chad just hit you with all those stats. I don't like it that it's a short week this late in the season. To me, that's a big deal. And that gives a huge advantage to this Ravens team, especially a team that, you know, they're much better than that they played against the Browns team, right? I think I saw a crazy stat, but I'm almost positive Watson went 14 for 14 passing in the second half against that Ravens team. You don't think they know that? Like that's going to be bulletin board material. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to let that happen to you at home and blow a 14-point lead. So I'm going to trust the Ravens here to bounce back in this spot. And we talked coming into the season, this Bengals team, not that I knew they're going to have a season from hell, but I said it to you. They'd won their division 2 years in a row. Like winning the North 2 years in a row is basically a death sentence just because you had to have gotten so lucky for things to break right for you to win in this tough division 2 years in a row. And last year, things broke right that Lamar got hurt and they tailed off the Ravens and the Bengals were able to catch up. This year, they don't have that luck. Like these quarterbacks have not gotten hurt. Watson was the only one that's gone down with an injury, and the Browns still won games with PJ Walker in there. Like the Bengals haven't had the luck they've had in prior seasons. I mean, even the Steelers, right? The luckiest team in all of football in their division. It just hasn't broken right for this Bengals team. So, yeah, if you're betting like me on this Ravens team, you might as well bet on the Bengals to miss the playoffs as well. Because if they don't win this game, it feels like that's kind of it, right? They're going to miss the playoffs.
God, that's a great idea. The only thing I can think of for this, I keep watching Joe Burrow just be lip quivering, devastated after that loss to the Texans. To see how much it means to him and sort of the pain. I'm not saying that's why they can come back and win this game, but I actually just find it to be an incredibly human moment about how much these guys put into each week of preparation and their competitive spirit.
That's how I felt watching Josh Allen last night. It's like you literally just saw a man die on the field. Like you saw the life get sucked out of him when they said the 12th man was on the field. And it's like these guys are so highly competitive, like you just said. So I agree, but you have to go look. Lamar is feeling the same way, right? Lamar,
Oh
he's got
yeah.
to own that pick six, and he's got to wear this loss he just had against Cleveland. So I'm right there with you.
I also was thinking about,
There with you.
I also was thinking about, we were so all in on the Bengals before we got off of them. Before we got off of them last week.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if last week, like, did we think we kind of overlooked it? It might have been a trap game because they were looking ahead to this week potentially.
I just didn't. I'm still in awe of everything CJ did. Even when I went back and watched the tape, I just can't believe how bad that Bengals defense, which we talked about, played. Like they
Yeah.
gave up over 150 on the ground to a backup running back, like another running back that left the Bills and went somewhere else, and now is getting 150, and letting a rookie throw for over 300 yards or whatever it was, 350 against you. Yeah, just total embarrassment by that Bengals defense.
Tennessee at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at 6.5. It opened at 6. We talked about it on Sunday. I really wanted to bite because of Vrabel.
Yeah.
You walked it back in the moment because of Levis. You thought it might go up to 6.5. The flip side is the Jags coming off a bad loss, which is historically when you want to play a team. And then there's all the stats that I just read. It's going to be redundant today, but all the stats I just read about home teams, home favorites, road dogs,
Yeah.
all applies to this game. I think I care less about Will Levis being the quarterback than you do. To me, I feel like I'm playing the spot and the coach, not necessarily being afraid of the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm waiting on this one still. I still think it has room to go up. I just believe everyone's going to come in with their teasers, their money line parlays. The public I'm hoping they'll keep driving this up to a 7, and that's what I'll come in with you, Chad. So I'm with you. Like I'm not going to make it the biggest deal. I just, I say it all the time. We make these draft grades, and then not that it's like, oh, look how right I am, but it's like there's a reason a lot of people had a second round grade on Will Levis. Like you see the flashes of the things he does great and then the things he does really bad. And that's a problem. So I'm right there with you where it's like, do I think this kid can make one or two big plays for us? I do, honestly. Like I've seen him make some throws that are really impressive. And that combo with him and Hopkins, that's a real thing. So I can't fault you, Chad. I'm just my advice would be just keep waiting. Like I think this could go up to 7, so I'll keep waiting. Hopefully, it goes up to 7.
Yeah, so far I haven't bet it.
Yeah, me either.
I've been holding off. I actually feel like last week was a weird week because I was traveling in Copenhagen and I left on Tuesday. I made so many more bets earlier in the week than I normally would.
Right before you left.
Right before I left, and then I made too many bets on Sunday and ended up not having a great week because I made stupid bets on Sunday because I was trying to catch up to things. And so this week I'm trying to be very thoughtful. Also, I think it's a little bit, as you said, or tried to say, but I won't let you say. Board's a little bit easier this week. I've only made,
There he is.
I've made like 4 or 5 bets, but I haven't, that's not one of them yet. Also, not one of them is The Chargers -3 at Green Bay. Lines moved down by 0.5 point. I've got a theory on bad quarterbacks. Okay. Tell me what you think of this.
Yeah.
When it's time to bet them, there are the backup quarterbacks who are catching a spot, which we have not been uncomfortable doing that in the past years. PJ Walker is an example of that, right? Gardner Minshew has been an example of that. Then there are the serviceable QBs who can keep the back door open in the right spot. Taylor Heineke, Josh Dobbs, like they're sort of in that realm. Then you get to the QBs who cannot execute and their lack of skill overpowers the spot. Mac Jones is one of those guys. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zach Wilson is kind of becoming one of those guys. Is Jordan Love one of those guys?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it though, because I went back and watched that tape from that Pittsburgh game, and not that it's his best game he ever played, right? Maybe that's still the week 1 against the Bears where it's like he threw for 3 touchdowns and it was all wide open guys and really simple reads. But in that Pittsburgh game, he was finally throwing to guys who weren't wide open. Like he was throwing to, like, trusting his receivers, throwing into coverage, not holding onto the ball for so long. But then the second half, he kind of reverted back to that, where he's like holding on to the ball he's indecisive. You can just tell he's nervous and he's not comfortable. And, maybe it does come down to that missed extra point, right? Because if they would just needed a field goal, he had the team in the position to kick a field goal, right? To go to overtime, but they needed a touchdown. And it's like, I think even Green Bay fans felt that it's like you had no real faith that that guy was going to drive the field and score a touchdown there. And that's what's so tough here. It's like, if we're going off this number stinks and we should be taking a side, it's Green Bay, right? Like the Chargers are a better team. They have a much better quarterback, much better offense. Green Bay's defense stops nobody really, especially good offenses. So weird number, but I'll stay away because I want to take Green Bay. But Chad's right. We already missed the 3.5. I'm not taking the 3 here. Like, forget that. I'll wait and hope it gets back to 3.5, or I just won't bet this game because I hate it, to be honest.
Yep. Dude, I think we're going to line up nicely this week. I don't know if there's going to be any crazy midnight calls to change everything to get us to a place which is essentially the same as we would be if we didn't change anything. But I like the way we're trending right now because I don't like that game either. All right, another one of our games. We got not only 7 divisional games, we got 5 double-digit underdogs this week. The New York Giants +10 at Washington is one of them. Remember that soliloquy I just gave about bad quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Forget it. Because how is this not a prime Giants spot? There's so there's so much inflation. The Commanders are not the Cowboys. Okay. And then Brandon Anderson, who, we got to give him his flowers because he had the Texans to win the division in one of our preseason pods, but he's also been nailing these hot reads that he does in his Sunday night wrap-up segment on the Action Pod. Everyone should go download it with Joe Gallant and our very own Evan Abrams. They review every game from Sunday, do a little bit of a preview for Monday. And Brandon Anderson will do a segment in which he looks ahead at the lines for this week. Always picks a couple of games. He went in on the Giants +10 at Washington. And here's a stat, okay? Going back about 20 years. Underdogs with a margin of loss, essentially, of 14 or worse from week 5 forward, 66% against the spread, 73% if they're on the road. So the Giants are like, not only is it all those divisional stats, but then they have sort of another stat that supports it. It's not my favorite double-digit dog of the week. It's not my second favorite double-digit dog of the week. But it is a double-digit dog of the week that is interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Even the stats can't convince me. I'm on Washington. The Giants they're dead. They're dead. They got nothing. They got nothing at the quarterback position. I already talked about it. This guy, he's part of the new NFL, right? You bring in a third stringer. out of college. You pay him $10 an hour. Let him sit on the back of the bench. He
Let
goes
him live with his mom, eat some chicken
yeah.
cutlets.
Bring us Starbucks in the morning to the quarterback room. That was this kid's life. And then their quarterback went down. Then Tyrod Taylor went down. It's like they're playing a true third stringer. This kid, he's horrible passing the ball, but I mean, he found it where he figured out, oh, I can run. Like I can run the ball. He is going to survive maybe 2 more weeks. This guy is going to get caught eventually. He's going to run, and a linebacker is going to get a clean hit on him, and that's the end of DeVito. Like that's just the end of the story. So I want to be there with Chad. Like I think Washington just keeps covering. Like like it feels like every week this team somehow covers, and I keep believing in this offense. Like I might not be able to pronounce his last name, but Eric
Bieniemy.
Bieniemy. I love him. I love this offense so much. I love his schemes. Like he everything he said is so true that he was not getting his due process just because everyone thought it was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. And now look at them since he's left. Look at that offense and how different it is this year compared to the previous seasons. And I love him. I love Washington's offensive scheme so much. Like, fire Ron Rivera and make this man your head coach. He is the future. Like, this guy, he's just so offensively gifted. And I don't see the Giants. Yeah, they have some guys on their defense that can get some stops, but I don't know how they can keep up with an offense here in Washington. So I do love some double-digit dogs, and I'm with Chad on a couple of them. This is not one. I like Washington here.
For the record, I haven't pulled the trigger on the Giants yet either because I don't know how they're gonna.
I didn't bet this game either. I just know I won't be on the Giants.
Yeah. And Sam Howell, who, by the way, you highlighted in one of our YouTube exclusive favorites film room sessions, which we will post another one tomorrow. You highlighted Sam Howell leading the league in passing yardage right now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That is insane. Yeah, if they can get some offensive linemen, this dude could be the guy. Like we don't know. And Stroud's number 2, says Evan. That's crazy. If someone would have told you this back in August, holy shit, I love football. Yeah.
Me too. It's so good.
This year is everything I love about football. It's just everyone's just crazy. It's just craziness.
Las Vegas at Miami. Huge move. Miami is a 12-point favorite right now. Huge move the past 24 hours. It was as low as 9. Now it's up to 12. There was a little bit of buyback on the Raiders yesterday, and then it popped back again today to 12 at Bet365. You know how there have been a couple times this year where we've leaned towards big favorites, which is completely outside of our comfort zone. This feels like a spot where we should be leaning towards Miami. Yes. This is when they beat people up.
Yes.
12-5 against bad teams at the start of the season. The Raiders should not have won on Sunday night. I am not a buyer in sort of Antonio Pierce and Aiden O'Connell. Like, they should destroy the Raiders. We like Miami at -12. We're not afraid of this number.
No, I was going to say, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the one that bet this up. Like, when this number dipped below 10, I was all over Miami. Like, what is this Raiders love? It's Miami at home against a bad team. Me and Chad have already talked about this. It's just, I'm happy to fade Miami in different spots against good teams on the road. It's all different. There is no doubt. Like, this Miami team, maybe we won't cover this one, but I'm telling you, over our lifespan, and we keep taking Tua at home against bad teams, it's going to pay us out. And this feels like one of those spots. So it's still below 13, a key number, people. I have no problem with you grabbing the 12. Should I make this Simon Says?
We got a lot of games.
I know, because I love some dogs this week, but I do want you guys to grab this just in case it gets up to 13.
All right, go for it. Call it.
I just I'm like feeling guilty just because of what happened last week with the Bengals, but I'm looking at Miami's injury report here. I'm not seeing Tyreek or Waddle. Yes, I know it's early in the week, people, but grab Miami now that it's under 13. Simon Says Miami -12.
Wow, we are going with big favorite. This is honest to God. We've barely gone with favorites, let alone 2 weeks in a row, let alone a favorite
I
of
know.
-12.
It's such a key number.
This is what I mean though, Simon. I feel like you and I are in a mind meld because like all these games are games that we agree on. This could only lead to disaster. Two is 9
No,
and 0
those are usually our
straight up.
best weeks.
Two is 9 and 0 straight up, 7-2 against the spread as a favorite of over 4. It's like, you know, it's like the Cowboys lead from the front. They're playing at home. They tend to cover those games. They tend to cover those big spreads. Arizona to Houston. This game, when we talked about it on Sunday night, was 5.5. You were hoping it might get to 6. It has since gone down to 4. It's 3.5 in some places. To me, from what I'm seeing, and I want you to sort of tell the narrative here, I've seen the public come in big on the Cardinals, and I want to know what you've seen that would make this line move the way it has.
Well, it's pros just like me. I think almost all the professionals, even last week, I felt like only the pros were on the Cardinals and the over, and it's just because everyone, it felt like in the public sphere, kind of turned Kyler Murray into a joke, right? Like he became a punchline, and I don't know, maybe it was because they thought it'd be rusty or just whatever it was. But we saw, I mean, everyone's seen that overhead shot of Kyler scrambling for 30 yards. It's like, it's what makes him so special. He's one of the best athletes to ever play the game. Like the only thing holding him back is his height. But in an offense where you're getting him outside the pocket and you're running these, RPO plays with him, he's dynamic. Like him and Connor in that backfield together looked so impressive last week. And I know it's the Atlanta Falcons, but are we really crowning Houston Texans here in week 11, week 12? Like it's too much love. So I'm pissed the pros came in and they bet this down so much, but yeah, grab the 4, grab the 3.5. Like if this is 3.5 or 4, 4.5 in our contest, it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee this will be in. And it's no slight against Houston. It's just at some point, CJ has to come back down to earth. There's a reason we've never seen anything like this. Like you don't see rookies perform like this. And the last one I can really think of is Dak. Like I remember Dak with that Cowboys offense with Zeke. It felt like Zeke and Dak were both in the conversation for MVP at one point. Like they were just that good that year, their rookie season together. It's crazy how good this Houston team is, but Arizona's a different team with Kyler. Like you just saw too after the game, like the belief of all the players, everybody just believes in this guy. So maybe I'm stepping in it right, Chad. That's always the fear here, where it's like I'm backing an Arizona team that just had a huge emotional win. But I could say the same exact thing about Houston. It's like they just won a game that shouldn't have won on the road. It's not just because Boyd dropped that ball, right? I know a lot of people want to throw it to like Boyd dropped the touchdown. That shouldn't have been what it was. CJ's that guy, man. CJ's the one making these drives, throwing the ball, coming down the field. So who knows if this will end up in our round robin? Maybe it will, but I am that scared of CJ, but I have to take these points. Like go through CJ's history. He tends to play really close games. So looking at this number, feels like this is the spot to take. And, again, I feel so lucky last week that we dodged getting the Bengals out. And I feel bad for everyone that listened to us and backed it. But trust me this week, people, please. Like you're getting a good number here. You want to take the 3.5, the 4 while you still can.
So CJ Stroud has won 5 games this season. Historically, Ohio State quarterbacks not very good in the NFL. Here's a stat that proves it. The 5 wins tied for the most single season NFL wins for any Ohio State quarterback ever.
Yikes.
Sadly, that includes Justin Fields. The only Ohio State quarterback to get 5 wins
Oh my God.
was 1990s icon Kent Graham, who I have a very special feeling for because Kent Graham, who's older than I am, was an All-American quarterback from the suburbs of Chicago, who was the most highly recruited player in his class and then went to Notre Dame and then transferred to Ohio State. And everybody in the North Shore of Chicago and the northern suburbs was like, oh my God, someone we actually could see play on a football field in high school is considered the best high school football player in the country. He's the only other guy from Ohio State who won 5 games in a season in the NFL.
That's an incredible stat. You just think about all these incredible athletes have come out of there. I mean, Terrell Pryor, all these guys. I can't believe none of them ever got the 5 wins. Wow.
Also, here's another stat to back up what you love and why there's a little bit of inflation on Houston, not just because of CJ. Teams coming off of 500 plus yards of offense playing at home in their next game, 71-92 against the spread the last 20 years.
Like that.
Only 2 teams fit that bill this week. And we just talked about one of them, and we just talked about fading one of them, the Houston Texans. The other team, the game we're going to talk about next, Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. The Bears are 10-point underdogs. I love this game.
Yep.
Love this game. Love this game. I'm debating between this game and one other game as my exact decision. I raised this one on Sunday night when it was 9. I like the Bears.
Another game I told you to wait.
I was just going to say that. I like the Bears. You're like, hold your horses. Don't be crazy. You thought we should wait.
The public loves the Lions, right?
Yeah. No, you were totally right.
Yeah.
It got to 10.5 on Monday. There was a little bit of buyback. It settled at 10. It's still at 10. I bet this game. We're going to be one of our biggest luck matchups of the week.
Oh, really?
Another signal to bet the Bears.
Yeah.
All those division stats, right? All the division stats that I've mentioned, it bears repeating in this game. Where are we? Home teams in the division since 2015. So the Lions in this spot, covering at 47%. Home favorites in the division since 2015, covering at 45%. This is the spot you bet the Bears. Just saying it. Got to do it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Love the Bears at this number. Another crazy stat from our guy, Evan. Goff has covered 11 straight games against NFC North teams. Pretty insane run by this Lions team right now in this division.
We got inflation on the Lions. We got Justin Fields potentially coming back. I may or may not, Simon. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, and no one can judge me if I did. I may or may not watched practice video from the Bears yesterday. I'm kidding. Don't take that as betting advice that he's going to be playing, but we like the Bears either way.
Yeah, and if it is not him, I'm okay with buying out my position. Like I'm not gonna have a ton of money on this one. Chad already said I already missed the 10.5. Like the pros that got that got to be feeling great. I'll grab the 10 where I can, but now my hope is just that it does go back up to 10.5. But yeah, if it's no Fields, probably could go up another 3 points, right? Probably gets up to 12, maybe 13. So
I would still take the Bears.
You would.
It's the spot. This is this is what we're like. Look, these division games, they're so unpredictable. There's so much familiarity. There's so much more intention in the way the teams play. Winning a game in the division, which for the Bears won't matter, but for the Lions will, it's like winning a game and a half. And so there's a lot more tension, a lot more opportunity to make mistakes. Everything is amplified a little bit. Like, this is the spot. You take the underdog.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. But yeah, that's just my advice to people. It's like grab the 10. But yeah, the hope for us, everyone, is that this gets back to 10.5.
You know what? No, I can't do it yet.
There you go.
I can't do it yet. Because I really want to know about Justin Fields.
Yes.
As a reminder, you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. I am going to do it right now. Exec decision time. Pittsburgh Steelers +4 at the Cleveland Browns. We bet the Steelers when it was 4.5. We bet the Steelers last week against Green Bay. Did we get lucky? Maybe. Is this the way this team plays? Probably. But from a football point of view, one of the reasons I liked Cleveland against Baltimore last week and why when there were all those injuries and stuff going on, I never backed out of my position. I had Cleveland +5, Cleveland +6, didn't change anything, didn't bet on Baltimore. Isn't because of their offense, it's because of their playmakers on defense. They just have more of them on the D line who can rush the passer. And that mattered against Baltimore in the second half, especially. Myles Garrett was dominant. And that advantage that the Browns have is neutralized this week because the Steelers have 3 pass rushers grading out as top 20 in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. That is the most in the NFL. It's more than the Browns. To me, we've seen it every single week. As bad as Kenny Pickett is, you see someone on the Steelers defensive line or as one of their linebackers making a big play as a pass rusher that keeps them in the game. So we have all that, plus we have the division stats. Massive, massive game for both teams. Exec decision. Exec decisions 3-0 the past 3 weeks. Exec decision. Exec decision. Did I overwhelm you?
I don't know what to say. I love you, Chad. You're the best.
Are you with me or against me?
Oh yeah, no. There's only I have to take Pittsburgh. I have no choice. This is like everything we preach, we talk about all the time. We'll be on Pittsburgh. They'll be in our money line round robin. Like this is how this stupid division works, and this is what we do with this division. And yeah, Cleveland. You know, maybe we'll get burned here, right? If Watson did find something that second half and he is what he was his old self, which is exactly what he looked like in that game. I mean, he was making off balance, one-footed throws across his body right onto the money across the field. Like he was really in his bag in that second half. And if he found something there, this bet's toast. Me and Chad are dead on arrival. Like if this is a shootout, Pittsburgh is not built to be in a shootout, right? They are one of the worst offensively challenged teams we've ever seen. And I mean, everyone's going to see the stat. It's like they've been outgained every week. Have you heard this stat, Chad? Every week they've been outgained. Like, do these people not understand that yards really are irrelevant? Yards don't matter in football. You can get all the yards in the world. If you can't score, it's all fugazi. Like if you're kicking threes instead of getting sevens, you lose. And as much shit as you want to give to Pittsburgh in these games, they get the sevens when they need it. And that's why they've been winning these really close games. I mean, the Ravens is a great example. Like they just stayed in the game, right? They stayed in it. They held the Ravens to a field goal. I think it was 10-3 at one point. They get their own touchdown and they get their own 2-pointer. Then they get another takeaway and then they get their own touchdown again. And it's like, bam, you're up 17-10. That game's over, right? So this Pittsburgh team, they just win ugly. And we said it, we could get burned here. But how do you, if you love this show and you love what we do, you have to take this game with us. This is just what this show is all about. We take an ugly number here on a divisional dog and not shocking anyone. I'm looking at right now in the app, the money, the bets coming on the Browns. But what? The numbers come down. That's sharp movement. That's real professional money. So wouldn't be shocked to see this get down to 3.5. But yeah, you got to be happy to grab the 4. Like Chad's making this exact decision. Grab the 4 now.
Reverse line move. That's what that one is called. Here's another stat. Here's another stat from Evan. Division dogs the last 20 years on the road, 90 games over 500. Division dogs on the road since 2019, 57% against the spread. So
love it.
Everything's lining up for us there. It's all going our way, Simon. Dallas at Carolina. Yes, please give me Carolina. Of all the double-digit dogs this week, this one feels like most traditionally like the one we would play. Double-digit dog at home, a team that is massively inflated. The look-ahead line was 6.5. Only one win this year on the road, I think. Did you give me that stat?
Yeah. You want me to go through it?
Yeah. And like it's a huge pros Joe's game. The bets are on the Cowboys, money on Carolina.
And I'm looking at one of the most public books out there. 92% of the bets, 95% of the money right now in Dallas. Like this is again, I said this is an easy week. half the time I don't even need to do the work. I wish I didn't spend 3 hours breaking down the freaking Panthers film to try to convince myself. I just could have done nothing. I should have known I was going to be on the Panthers, but I needed to really see it to believe it. Dallas this year, week one, they started week one they were on the road against the Giants. We all remember they beat them 40-0. Everything went wrong for the Giants in that game. The next road game they played was at Arizona. They lost 16-28. Their next road game after that was at the 49ers. They lost 42-10. After that, they're on the road against the Chargers. They won 20-17. And then after that, they're on the road against Philadelphia. They lost 28-23. So we've seen Cowboys this year, dominant, incredible defense. Everything clicks at home. On the road, you can clearly say it's different. And they face some challenges. Now go look at the Panthers, how they play at home compared to on the road. Much better team at home. Like, they're clearly comfortable there. Their defense plays better. It should be shocked to no one, right? The public is going to hammer this number. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'll throw a little on the Panthers money line. Like, this might end up in our round robin of all the big dogs here. This is the one I could see somehow pulling off the upset. And
I'm with you, by the way, 100% with you on the money line. You and I, this show, we're on the air right now live at 2:26 in the afternoon. We do a show, Green Dot Daily, that's every day setting the betting agenda for the day, that appears on YouTube and in the app. And that show goes on at 3 p.m. Oftentimes we will tape some segments, and you and I taped our segment at 1:15 before we came on the air for this. And we talked about how Carolina is a money line play for me. Like, I love that idea. Love it.
Yeah, got to do it. It's like, guys, we got no doubt. I already said it last show. The Cowboys are the number 3, number 4 team in all football, NFC. But teams lay stinkers. We see it all the time. Like, most teams, end of the year, what do they have? 4 or 5 losses, right? That's just the norm. Unless you're the best team in football in your division and you're the best team like in the NFC, then yeah, maybe you end the year with only 2 or 3 losses. But not saying this is a scheduled loss for the Cowboys, but this is a bad spot. It's smushing between 2 divisional games, and it's on the road. Like, this is just a classic letdown spot. You can say it all you want, they're not going to overlook this Carolina team. It's hard not to. I'm telling you, I just watched their film. Carolina has some major, major issues. And I totally get why you're like, I don't want to be playing this number. You have to. It's too big of a number. Like, it's way too big of a number. Chad already told you, look ahead was 6. It's moved 4.5 because what? They just blew out a third-string quarterback and Tommy DeVito at home. That's what the Cowboys do. Like, Evan's giving up the stats. The Cowboys, they're the best at home against bad teams. But we already told you, the splits, they're a different team on the road this season. I'm going to trust those numbers. I'm going to back this Panthers team. And, yeah, Chad said it. You got to hold your nose and throw a little bet on that money line.
Little tiny bet, little bit of a skosh, just little tiny, just a dash, just a sprinkle. Simon, I had such a headache before this podcast began. Rare, not 1000% enthusiasm day for me. And you've turned it around. You've made me happier. Just talking about this has made my headache go away.
That's why I'm here, Chad.
Seattle at the Los Angeles Rams, another divisional game. We talked about on a Sunday night. We were wondering who would play quarterback for the Rams. We now know it's going to be Matthew Stafford. As soon as that news hit, the line moved from 2.5 down to 1. Like, I don't have a huge read on this game. I feel like the Rams are in a good spot, but because Seattle's been underperforming, I can't find the reporting. If you like to approach this from one way and I approach from another way, I can't find the reporting to make me feel strongly one way or the other.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I want to take. I told people on the show, like, if it was going to be Seattle, I thought you were getting a good number. If it wasn't going to be Stafford, because we didn't know who the hell the Rams quarterback was going to be, and it totally went the other way. And they are saying that it is going to be Stafford, and that's why this number's moved so much. And I don't know what to do with it. Like, I want to take the Rams too, but I hate the number. Like, it feels like the value's kind of shifted towards the Seahawks, but I don't really want to be taking the Seahawks. So, no play on this one for me right now.
Dude, we're not connected by a string right now. We're connected by, like, reinforced steel bars. The New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. This line is 7. Why does this keep happening to us?
You don't have to do it. We're not doing it. I'm not doing it to the fans. They can't take it.
Why? Like,
They can't take it. I'm not doing it to them.
dude, I know you didn't look in the script because it says we have to bag Zach Wilson in this spot, and we can't do it. It's a perfectly
I can't
divided.
do
it. It's a pros Joe's game. All the bets are on the Bills. All the money is on the Jets.
Yeah.
But Zach Wilson is officially in that category of doesn't matter the spot, cannot execute for me.
I'll be on the Jets, but I'm not. Zero chance this will be one of our 5. I am so bitter about how everything in that game went with the Jets, and I want to blame the coaching. I feel like he's a fucking idiot, man. It's like you have a game that's all being dictated by punting. That entire game was dictated by the punters. Like that, the Raiders punter did his job. He kept pinning them back, kept letting them get the ball back. They had run 3 plays with their running back and then kick a field goal, and that's how they won. And the Jets thing pissed me off so much is this. How do you not have someone on the sideline telling you the math where it's like as soon as they got into field goal range on that possession, they should have kicked the field goal. Then they kick the ball back, use their 3 timeouts, get the ball back at, say, midfield like they would have, or at their own 40, have Zach Wilson once again get you in a field goal range and kick another field goal, and you would have won that game. And, they were like, you know what? I'm going to trust Zach Wilson to get us a touchdown here. And that was their first mistake, was believing a guy who hasn't scored a touchdown for them in 30 quarters was going to come in at the end of the game and drive the field and get another touchdown. So I'm with the fans. I am so bitter and angry at this Jets team right now. I cannot make it one of my 5, but unfortunately, Chad just said it. Like, I have to take the 7. I have to bet this spot. I can't stand this fucking team because they have so much talent on the defense, such talent at the offensive weapons, and they just have an absolute dud at quarterback. Like, again, they didn't go get Dobbs. Dobbs went for a 7th round pick. I mean, just fire everyone. Like, the owner has to be beside himself watching this Vikings team, that offense. It's like this guy was available for a 7th round pick. Like, what are we doing? What? Because Zach Wilson drove the field against the Giants and was able to get the luckiest ever overtime game I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just crazy that the Jets kept convincing themselves to believe in Zach Wilson, and just a total waste of this season for this Jets team. And that, what can you do? They got Rodgers, he got injured, and you were stuck again with your just completely out of the league second pick overall in Zach Wilson.
This will be a really interesting game for the Bills, and I feel terrible for Matt Mitchell that he's living through this agony. But this is the kind of spot where in the past, Josh Allen not just wins, but covers pretty easily, right? The Bills,
true. No, it's true.
And so to me, this is an indication of how
that's true.
Much do the Bills have left in the tank for the year. Can they recover? Can they turn things around? The AFC East is topsy-turvy. Like, they are not out of it by any means, right? The Dolphins cannot beat good teams. The Jets and the Patriots are the Jets and the Patriots. So they don't have to be the best team in the AFC with the record. They just got to win the division and get into the playoffs. Yeah. So, and they can do that. But it starts with this game, and it starts with showing how healthy they are mentally. I love Game Time, Simon. I know you know that. It is the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States. I love it for 2 reasons. 1, they sponsor this show. Number 2, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. They've got amazing last-minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. I'm actually going to Game Time right now, tonight, in Brooklyn, New York. I can get in to see the Brooklyn Nets NBA basketball in an amazing facility for less than $25. No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out and have some fun this week. Go sweat your bets live and in person. You can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app, enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Minnesota's visiting Denver. Last night, I was looking at lines before the game began. Denver was a 1.5 point favorite. And I thought to myself, I think Denver can win the game tonight. I think this line might go up to 3 if they do. I should bet it now. And then sometime between like thinking that and turning on the game, I completely forgot until halftime. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't bet the game. So it only went up to 2. I'm surprised by that.
I mean, the Vikings are the hottest team in football. Everyone loves them. The public loves them. I know a lot of professionals love them. They've been getting fat and rich off this team. It's crazy, but I got to do it. How do we not take Denver at home in this spot?
That's what I think.
Yeah. So, look, this was going to be my Simon Says, but Chad just said it, where it's like, I thought this number would be higher. And I don't know if it is going to get higher because I don't know. Like, I need to talk to see what the boys are doing. But a couple pros I talked to right now, they like the Vikings and they like this number. And they're like thinking themselves, his running style is going to give a lot of problems, especially to teams like Denver that aren't the best tackling teams, right? I mean, how many tackles did they blow last night? That's just what Denver is. But man, like, I'm looking at 3 different books right now, and all the bets, all the tickets, all the money are on the Vikings. A road dog. Not a good spot. Like, if you're a backer and you know these numbers, road dogs that are highly publicly bet, let alone over 80%, that's dead on arrival. That is a dead dog. So don't know what to do this one. Like, I'm betting Denver. I bet it. I'm with you. Like, I felt really good after last night. I feel like I should be feeling even better, but I'm just a little nervous about it. Little nervous about it, just because I'm like the books. I don't know how to grade Dobbs. I don't know what his value is right now to the spread, and I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. Like, even when I go back and watch the film, it's like you would never know this dude is a journeyman that's been on 4 teams in the last whatever it is, 11 months or 10 months. Like, he looks like the guy, and it is crazy. But here we go, another stat from my guy Evan. He's still a guy that's 2-9 straight up as a starter, and like, I got to keep reminding myself that, where it's like he's just hot right now and it's all clicking. And he had 2 back-to-back wins, and it's like, did he win that game against Atlanta, or did Atlanta really lose that game? Did he really dominate the Saints, or did the Saints just totally lay an egg? I mean, that was the first game the Saints defense, I believe, it gave up over 250 yards passing to a starter in like over 2 seasons or something crazy like that. Like, total letdown game. So I'm scared. You can hear me trying to talk myself into this. I'm clearly scared of this guy Dobbs, but I gotta believe in this number, and I eventually he's going to come back down to earth. So I'm going to go with Denver here in this home spot, Chad.
What do you have it rated at right now? What's your number?
3. I'm right there with you. Like, I make it 3, but I have no idea what to make the number because I don't know what to do with Dobbs. Like, I could totally be underrating this guy, and this probably should be a pick. But what I have him graded at right now, it's like I'm not over adjusting. I'm just keeping him graded exactly what I have, which is like he's a bottom 20, bottom 25 quarterback in this league. And it's like, would I take him over the Zach Wilsons of the world? Of course, no brainer. Would I take him over Baker? No, which is crazy to say. I know people are like disagreeing with that, but that's just how I have it rated right now. So I don't know what to do with him. He's a total mystery man right now, but don't be shocked if you see this as one of our 5s come Sunday.
By the way, I apologize. You said Baker, and before we get to the final game, I realized I skipped over.
You did.
The Niners and Bucks game because I just, in my script, I have one note on it. The Niners are favored by 11.5. My read was, I have no read on this one yet. So like,
yeah,
I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I want to take Bucks, but I think Chad's right. Like, it's hard for me to want to back this Buccaneers team after a home win going on the road against a team that they're fully healthy now. Like, they got all their dogs back. Clearly, Purdy got over the concussions, right? He looked like his old self. I don't know if he threw for 300 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. He just looked much like the Purdy we were used to seeing in the beginning of the season, which is like, this guy's perfect for the Shanahan system. He's a good thrower. He's very accurate, and he knows he's got Debo, if he's got McCaffrey, he's got Kittle, like these big time weapons. Don't overthink it. Just get the ball to which one of them is open on that play, and they will make the magic happen. So I want to take Tampa, but I'm with Chad. I just can't get there. So I'll probably end up not playing this or maybe just teasing the 49ers.
The going back to the Broncos for a second, remember one of our favorite bets from the beginning of the season was the Broncos, I think, over 8.5 wins.
Yeah.
And I think I said this on Green Dot Daily 2 weeks ago. I'm not ripping that ticket up. They've got a very winnable schedule.
Yeah.
To go 5-3 the rest of the year. Beating the Bills was like one of the
Huge.
2 games they have to win. But the rest of
that and the
games,
Chiefs, like that completely flips their whole rating.
They beating the Bills and the Chiefs. The rest of the teams they're playing, the way they're playing right now, they're better than the teams they're playing through the rest of the year. So I don't hate having the Broncos at over 8.5 right now.
No, I mean, I honestly felt like the biggest idiot in the world. I was like, you just thinking back to our summer shows, it's like, what the fuck was I thinking? So thank God they're not making us look like total idiots.
I know. What an incredible coaching job by Sean Payton, by Vance Joseph, what they've done with Russell Wilson, what they've done with that defense. It's impressive. All right. Last game on the board, Monday Night Football, biggest game of the week. Philadelphia, Kansas City. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite right now. We liked it on Sunday at 2.5. We betted at 2.5. I'm kind of surprised it went to 3. I thought like the money was coming in on Philly. I'm surprised that this number moved.
And this might just not be one of our 5 just because it's so split between all the professionals I talked to. And before the show, I asked Evan to give us all the Reid trends just because everyone knows all these trends about Andy Reid after a bye week. So let's read it off, Chad. Andy Reid, last 20 years on 8 days rest, 58, 26 straight up, 47, 36, and 1 ATS. On 12 plus days of rest, which is a bye, Andy Reid is 25 and 6 straight up in the last 20 years. And the Mahomes stat, which me and Chad love, Mahomes -3 or less or a dog, 26 and 1 ATS. So
kills me.
So it's like I want to be on the Eagles. I feel like the Eagles are a better team. The Chiefs have looked lost offensively, and they might put together 1 or 2 good quarters, and then it doesn't look good the next ones. Travis Kelce is getting all this shit from people because he went to go see his girlfriend, the most famous musician in the world, in Argentina on his bye week. You're a loser. If you care what Travis Kelce is doing on his bye week, a guy who's got 2 Super Bowl champions, it's a top 3 all-time tight end, is going to make out with his smoking hot girlfriend who's singing to thousands of people. You are a fucking
hundreds
loser.
Of thousands.
Yeah, you're a loser. So that does nothing to the spread to me. Do I care what Travis Kelce does during his bye week? No. But I want to be on the Eagles, but I can't do it to you guys. I'm not going to force it onto us. I don't know how this ends up as one of our 5 just because of Evan's trends. Like, Evan gives us these numbers and they break my heart and they piss me off, but they're right. Like, those Saints numbers he gave us, how the fuck was I on the Saints as a road favorite last week? I'm kicking myself about it. So Evan gave me these stats about Andy Reid. The 25 and 6 straight up is insane. Like, that's such an insane stat. That's with Alex Smith. That's with Kevin Cobb on the Eagles and Donovan McNabb. Like, this man's been doing it for over 20 plus years. Just incredible. So I don't know if this is gonna be one of our 5, Chad. I loved it Sunday night. I'm trying to be rational here. Whew, this is tough, but if this gets a 3.5, things change. Mahomes at 3.5 or higher. Yes. He's 35 and 40 ATS. So don't kill us if we change on Sunday that this gets up to 3.5 in the contest. But I'm telling you right now, 2.5. I cannot fault you at all if you want to put the Chiefs in at 2.5 in your contest.
Mahomes is 30-1 straight up in November, December in the last 31 games.
Wow.
36,
oh my God.
36 and 5 straight up November, December in his career. 48-8 straight up November, December,
Oh
January.
my God.
The guy does not freaking lose
No.
once we get into the second half of the season, which is why he's got so many freaking Super Bowls, MVPs, records, and why he's going to go down as the greatest quarterback who's ever played. And yet here we are putting our money on the Eagles. Even if we don't put them in the contest, we still bet the Eagles. Oh.
I cannot do it. If it's at 3, I can't not take this Eagles number. It's too tempting.
So what's interesting is we start off the show thinking, oh my God, there's so many games we love. And right now, if I look at it, there are 6 games I can say we'll be debating on Thursday. Miami, Cards, Bears, Steelers, Carolina, and then we've got Denver on the outside
Denver.
looking in. I'm going to put Philly at +2.5 just so we've got a little bit more to talk about on Thursday. Maybe Tennessee, Jacksonville if that number's moved, but it might be such an easy week that there's only 5 games that we feel amazing about.
Facts.
Whereas sometimes there's 8 or 9 that we like.
And it's only Tuesday, but yeah, like I just, as soon as I saw a lot of these numbers, that's what I meant. I just loved these numbers. And the only other week I loved for us, we went 5-0. So I'm feeling pretty good here, Chad, where it's like I already saw what our 5 should be. Now it's all about us getting the right number to make it so. And that's the hope here. Like we're sitting here on Tuesday. We'll put our pricks on Thursday after our Thursday show, which you can all go see anytime you want. You go click on our page. It's time-stamped. And, you know, I'm always fearful when it feels this easy, Chad. Like you said, don't say it, but it's like sometimes the weeks break right where it's just you get so much overreaction. You just get so much line value. The work tends to do itself for you.
As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. Don't forget, Simon and I doing a live show. You're all invited. We want you all to be there. Nothing could be more fun, more exciting for us than to be able to connect with everybody who listens to the show, get to bet with everybody who listens to the show. Come bet with us. Come listen. December 3rd, Hoboken, New Jersey. Doors open at 4:00, I think. Entry is free. Drinks are free. All you have to do is RSVP. The place is called The Shepherd and the Knucklehead in Hoboken, New Jersey. You can RSVP by checking out the link in the description here on the YouTube page and in the podcast episode page. Go to eventbrite.com. Search the Favorites podcast for more info to RSVP. The Shepherd and the Knucklehead, December 3rd, live show, Sunday night, the 7:30 episode. Doors open at 4. Free entry, free drinks, RSVP. All right. Now, also, don't forget to catch us on YouTube. The next episode of The Favorites is live Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift until 11 a.m. Thursday. Love you.